let's get that cuff attached to the bottom of the sleeve. You can see here where I've got my side seam or my inner seam. I marked originally where the fold would have been on my pattern piece, and you can see it's marked with pink. My cuff is done. I've basted around the outside edge. I stuck one pin into the cuff where my seam is, and I stuck another pin into the cuff where the halfway point would be. Now I'm going to stick the cuff inside the sleeve. The hole is inside out, so it's going to be right sides together. This is going inside. I want to match the pin that I stuck at the seam to the seam in the sleeve, and my hands are probably in the way, but once I get the pin transferred, I'll show you. So the cuff is inside, and there's the pin where the sleeve seam and the cuff seam all meet. At the opposite side, there's a pin at the halfway point of my cuff. I'm going to match that pin to the mark that I made earlier, and I'm going to stick the pin in, and then I'm going to show you. So there, the pin's in. Now I'm going to start sewing. The cuff is a little bit smaller than the end of the sleeve, so I need to stretch the cuff a little bit as I sew. I'm going to sew again with the cuff on top so that I'll know exactly how much to stretch it. And I'm going to sew on the inside so that I don't have anything threatening to creep in underneath my cuff. So presser foot goes down. This time I'm using the edge of the presser foot as my guide. My seam allowance is 1/4 of an inch. So if I put the edge of the fabric even with the edge of the presser foot, my seam allowance will be 1/4 inch. I'm going to drop my presser foot, pull out the pin, and I don't do a forwards and backwards or a fix because I'm sewing in a circle. So when I get back around to the beginning, I can just overlap by a few stitches and it'll never come apart. So here we go. Sew time. Over the hump. Little bit at a time. Check underneath to make sure you got nothing weird going on, and then just stitch a bit. These smaller cuffs are a little tricky to do, but if you just take one step at a time, you'll be fine. Baby steps. It's all baby steps. Now I'm coming to my pin. I take the pin out because, like I've said many times before, I don't sew over them. And I'm almost back to the beginning. See, there's my beginning coming there. So I'm not having to stretch it very much, just enough to keep everything flat under the presser foot. And there we go. I'm back at the beginning, which is right there. I'm just going to overlap and call it done. So you got 2 sleeve cuffs, you've got 2 ankle cuffs, and the neckband is done the same way.